into is a player good or not than what the stats might tell you. If you just looked at stats, you might think that Faker was not a good mid laner if you looked at LCK Summer, because he did not have the best stats back then.
Yeah.
But stats don't always tell the true story, and it's really nice to see these players having a second wind here in spring 2019. Bans are starting. Rakan and Camille taken off the table. We'll see if Hanwha ends up banning the Cassiopeia. Traditionally, that is a red side ban. Sandbox banning away the Lissandra. And if they follow that up with the Galio ban, it might be indicative of them desiring a Kali.
Cassiopeia taken off. I remember when you and I first started casting, there were 3 bans on the red side that you always had to do. That was in 2017. I remember LeBlanc was one of them. I forget the others.
Well, yeah, LeBlanc, Rengar, Camille.
Right.
That was a very enjoyable time in solo queue.
Yes, very, very fun time.
See if Hanwha Life now bans Akali or Galio. There's also the option to ban Aatrox or Urgot.
Aatrox or Galio.
Now, with Galio and Lissandra taken off the table, Sandbox might say thanks for the favor. They could first pick the Akali if they're confident enough.
Well, after seeing someone's play on it, I thought it was very good, but they're going to go with Aatrox here.
Yeah, Aatrox is definitely a very strong blind pick, and he's able to be flexed into mid and top. There are a few champions that are good against Aatrox, but we'll see how they choose to unfold in this draft, and Akali is still on the table. Hanwha Life, however, hovering the Thresh is a good no-theme support. Well, I suppose it has a theme, but it's extremely flexible, so
yeah,
for the most part, can view it as a no-theme champion. Akali locked in for Hanwha Life Esports, and so you have to know that this is coming, and you have to wonder why Sandbox wanted to do this, because if they go Akali, Hanwha Life goes Aatrox, and then you can just respond to Urgot, and that's fine. That's a very fine top lane matchup. It's extremely common and standard, and you would be on the better end of that. And now Hanwha Life Esports, they're choosing the Olaf, and so they have 2 extremely heavy engaged champions. And now if you're Sandbox, you can basically say, okay, well, you're playing with your hand face up, and now they can just draft against this because they are too pigeonholed into this play style now, because there's very few champions that are going to be able to get them out of this type of team composition. So now Sandbox hovering of Victor, Gravity Field, and the tankiness that Victor can provide is definitely obnoxious. He's also very good against Olaf because of that movement speed on his Q. And I gotta say that Sandbox is looking a lot stronger in the draft right now. I think that Hanwha Life made a little bit of an error with showing that much direction with their first 2 champions.
Well, you can tell how much priority they're putting on, I mean, Akali's obvious, but the Olaf is an interesting one. I know you haven't been a fan in the past, but nowadays Tarzan shows you can rush the Redemption Hex Drinker, and that's like a new nice build, and seemed very strong in the hands of Tarzan. We'll see if Bono wants to go down that path as well.
And with Urgot locked in, I mean, these are all champions that can be flexed right now. Urgot could go mid. Aatrox could go mid. Victor most likely going to be an ADC now, and so Hanwha Life looking to secure themselves the Thresh. And so Rakan and Tahm Kench are already banned away. Maybe Hanwha bans Morgana here?
Yeah, they might, you know,
Morgana and Alistar are both on the table. All right,
here we go. All right, it's first day, LS. Calm down.
First day, hold on. And now, if you're Sandbox Gaming, you want to pinch the 80 carries that are able to resist you. Ezreal is going to be one of the few that can resist the type of team comp, and it also offers that long-range poke that we talked about Hanwha Life is lacking right now. Kai'Sa, I suppose, would be another option, especially because she can itemize in different ways depending on what's going on. Instead, they're actually electing to take the Kalista away, and I actually feel like the Kalista plays directly into Hanwha Life's one-dimensional team comp right now, so a little bit surprised to see that banned away, but I guess maybe Ghost just doesn't want to play against Kalista Thresh down in bottom lane.
It's rough. You see it a decent amount nowadays as well, so just feeling like they're scared of Songyun's Kalista and that combination. And another support off the board. We're going to see no Shen in this game.
And now with Shen banned away in your Sandbox, I'm imagining that you just take away Ezreal or Kai'Sa here. There's no reason to ban... Okay, Jinx, well... You know?
I mean, it was an 80 carry, so
yeah.
you got that.
I'm like I'm like the fortune teller, you know, on the side of the street. Sometimes just hits things, and other times just whiffs. And now Kaisa being hovered, and I think locked in right away, right? Yeah, locked in right away. So that was a snap lock in. I don't know what the Jinx or the Kalista were doing. And Sandbox now with Lucian.
Aatrox jungle.
Yep.
It's got to be the way.
This is 9.1. We are still on 9.1, so it's going to be Aatrox jungle against Olaf. And what that does end up meaning, we still need a support pick, and Braum being hovered right now.
Braum would be nice, just a shield in the front to break down all that engage or, you know, head first team fighting Hanwha Life is going to want to do.
Yeah, and right now you're Hanwha Life, and you just need a mid or a top laner against this Sandbox Gaming team composition. I don't like what Sandbox actually did. They went all extremely short range. A lot of their champions, they do spike at 1 and 2 items, but they directed their team comp more so into what they wanted to do rather than fight against what Hanwha Life needed them not to do. And so we're going to have a battle on our hands.
And I feel like Vlad is the perfect pick as well, just in response. We've seen a lot of this 5th pick on red side. If you know you're going to be safe in lane, you just pick it up. And you mentioned all the short range, and it fits right into their composition as well with Hanwha Life very snugly in there. We'll see if Tal can pilot this to a victory. I'm a big fan of the Vlad nowadays. We've seen what players like Nuggery can do on that champion. It's basically permabanned against him now.
Vladimir extremely flexible, and he's sort of got a second wind as a champion with the new runes and the way that he can itemize, so it's beginning to make a bit of an appearance. I expect to see more of him as well in the next patch once that comes to the LCK. We'll talk about the team compositions in just a second here when we have it on our screen.
Yeah.
And here we have it. We have Victor, Aatrox, Urgot, Lucian, and Braum. So 1 item spikes, extremely obnoxious, very powerful. And it stays that way until 2 items. At that point, they begin to tipper off a little bit around 3 items. That's when their champions are going to start to slow down. And then on the flip side, for the enemy team, they have a bit more scaling and a little bit more oomph to their punch. With the Akali and the Vladimir, those champions are not slowing down. Kai'Sa's not slowing down. And even though they have anti-scaling inside of the Olaf, it's not going to matter because they end up beating out the enemy team the longer that this game can go. And they have more options available to them.
Yeah, so nice little breakdown there. We're going to have to wait and see which one of these comps comes out ahead here in Game 1. Getting their tiers underway are both the teams. Sandbox versus Hanwha Life, definitely seeming to be the highlight match of tonight. As we were talking about, you know, weekly highlight match, we thought that Griffin versus Dom one was going to be a fun one, and then Griffin just said no and stomped them. Didn't make it very fun, although if you're a Griffin fan, I suppose that's interesting and nice. They did pick up the win, but yeah, Dom 1 can't get over their curse up against Griffin. Kind of sad. We'll have to wait and see if any team can beat Griffin, or maybe it's going to be one of these teams, as Sandbox, I feel like, has the better chance of challenging them, especially with their unique pick ban kind of style.
Hanwha almost managed to, but not quite. It is a testament, though, to how strong they could indeed be. We'll have to see if they can repeat similar strengths tonight here in this series, or if Sandbox is going to continue running away with games. Twal comes here, checks on the red.
Don't have that stolen early by the sneaky Aatrox. He's just going to be very honest in his jungling on Fleek, starting on his red. Having getting in there.
Safe openings from everyone right now. And Olaf is doing blue into Gromp. And if you're Olaf right now, you have to look at your lanes. Can I gank for an Akali? No. Can I gank for a Vladimir? No. Am I going to go bottom lane after blue? Well, not unless Lucian and Braum make a really big mistake. So he can just opt into full clearing. You see he's going to get that right side Stellar Crab. And Aatrox on the flip side also recognizes, realistically, he shouldn't be able to gank anywhere. And so he's going for a full clear of his right-hand side jungle.
Yep, it's the next level. Gankless, not buffless, as both of these junglers do have buffs. And yeah, really excited for especially next week. We have a little bit of time to talk about it because we do have Griffin SKT, of course, and then Griffin Sandbox, which I think those two matches are going to be the hardest for Griffin. And I'm slowly becoming a bigger fan of Sandbox the more that I do watch them. Everybody was talking about Dove and saying that he was going to be one of the big carries. Turns out he doesn't carry every single game, but he's very consistent, which is always very important for a winning team. So definitely need a guy in the mid lane who's always going to essentially do his job and not lose lane.
As long as you are consistent, as long as you have other carries as well on your team, then that is all that you have to do sometimes. So definitely not performing badly by any means. And in this matchup, Urgot versus Akali, I mean, he should be able to neutralize Lava for the most part in this game. And it's really up to Lucian and Victor. That's where the real edges sort of come in. Urgot's purpose this game is more so going to be utility and adding stuff to team fights rather than trying to directly carry them.
What do you think about the area up here on the Victor? We see Kleptomancy up against a bunch of tanks, but I suppose up against Vlad, he wants more trading potential. What's your take on that, Ellis?
Well, Victor has to go AP this game because he doesn't have the luxury to go Iceborne Gauntlet. He's certainly not going to go Iceborne Gauntlet against the magic damage of Vladimir. If he doesn't go AP, Sandbox Gaming's team composition would be so bad. Everyone would stack Ninja Tabby. They wouldn't be able to do anything.
Might just do that
Victor
anyway.
would tickle them. They would laugh.
It's usually what happens when you get tickled. I love how you just left that one to hang on. Like, yeah, that was perfect.
That was good. So, AP Victor.
Yeah.
Which does mean that it will be a little bit slower to wake up. But it does have a little bit more incentive than the traditional Victor that slows down a little bit. So, won't slow down as fast as I mentioned during the assessment of the two team comps, but we'll see what ends up happening.
Looking for the gank. You were talking about this unless Lucian and Braum make a big mistake. Probably not going to happen, and immediately they back away. They see the Predator anyway and just let that one fly.
You can see the pings going down onto Aatrox's Wraith camp. He wants to steal that away. Akali has priority. And now this means that Bono is so far ahead. He has rubber-banded Gromp up. Oh, well, actually, having to...
Oh, no, Bono! What do you do from here? He's trying to fight. Here comes Akali. The flash on in. He barely is going to go down. That was closer than it had to be. But at least the first blood did go the way of Dove on the Urgot.
That was really, really good for Hanwha that Lava was able to come in there and pick that up. It looked like it was just going to be Bono giving away a free kill. And now, another unspoken thing on the flip side of this is Bono has a clear path from his right side jungle to the top left where the rubber band camps are going to come up, whereas Unfleek doesn't have that available. Taking a look at the replay here, you can see he wanted to get the small raids, got hit by the QE. Chilling Smite came out. Bono flashing the wrong way. I think he could have gotten over into the Dragon Pit. That would have been fine.
Yeah.
Dove came in here, hit him with the E, but it didn't look like they were on the same page for autos. And then it was too easy for Lava to come in here, just clean that up. Joker not able to help out with anything. Now coming back into live, Aatrox already in the river first, and you can see that Bono's just pathing to the left-hand side, and he's eating all these camps that have just respawned. So Hanwha in a pretty good position right now.
I love that you call him Bono. Adding flavor to the cast.
Why? What do you guys call him?
Bono? What do you mean?
It's Bono.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, of course, you know.
Look, I'm sparing you
famous
and everyone
U2
else.
singer Bono. Yeah, everybody's favorite for sure. I feel like the first blood goes to the Urgot, which I feel like they would have liked better onto the Aatrox. Sure, you'll get a tanky Urgot, you'll do a little bit of damage, but you want to make that Aatrox scary. Whereas getting a Kali a kill is really really nice. I like that.
First recall advantage is definitely also going to go over to Lava. Seeker's Arm Guard more valuable than the Phage, especially in this matchup, and also just scaling into the mid game. any armor and resistances is going to make it that much more difficult for Sandbox to be explosive in the mid-game transition.
Ping goes down there, but there is a control ward, so not sure about that one. We saw in the previous game that Cuz was really trying to rush down the Rift Heralds both times right at 10 minutes. We'll see if either of these junglers want to take a page out of that book and go for it.
High tempo jungling. Not quite my tempo, but if you do end up securing it at 10 minutes, you can convert it into 4 plates sometimes, which, I mean, that's 2 kills in and of itself. So the Rift Herald is absolutely massive if you can end up sniping it.
Everybody's hanging around the mid lane as Key comes in, helps a little bit with the vision. Both supports, actually, in the mid lane. As no fight will break out, Sandbox clears it out, and they call a truce. Key is going to go back to the bottom lane.
They actually give the blue to Lava, which I'm really surprised with because he's not having any difficulty here in mid lane, but maybe he wants that blue buff to try to soften up Dub because you can see his Ignite is about to come off cooldown. He does have kill potential once it's up. You can see he's trading very aggressively right now. And now Dub gonna back up. Not sure if he's gonna recall. It does look like he's gonna recall. He casts the E, but now Lava, with this blue buff, gonna be able to crash this next wave and get a bounce back after his recall, and that lane state is gonna be awful for Dub.
Yeah. Feels real good for Lava. We'll see if he sticks around for any of those platings. Doesn't really look like it. He's gonna back away, as you mentioned. And yeah, not too much action outside of the interesting play we did have in the beginning of the game.
Now Bono ends up finding on Fleek. He's actually down in levels. And now here's that timing where Urgot is trying to crash the wave into Akali's turret, but Akali's going to be back in time. And the awkward thing here is Aatrox is not going to be in close proximity, and Urgot has to respect Akali. He did end up getting a Spectre's Cowl, so will have some trading potential. Comes over, gets a ward, as you can see on the mini-map. Although we're taking a look back at top lane, and Summit is doing a really good job here with almost a 20 CS lead. Lava's gonna, oh, thought he would get pulled back there.
It's my boy Summit, but we gotta talk about this now. On Fleek in a little bit of trouble. Chilling Smite does go down. Shuriken has landed. Will he return? Doesn't look like it with the TP coming in, and in fact he just ultimates away on the Akali. So Braum to the rescue. That unsealed spellbook giving him the opportunity to pick up the TP and try to save his teammate.
Manages to get some wards down inside of the red side jungle, and now everyone's going to know where Olaf is for the foreseeable future. Bottom lane, Kai'Sa is ahead, and they're using this priority. They're trying to convert it into an Ocean Drake. It's almost at the point where it's not really all that useful, especially because you have 3 champions that almost have no reliance on mana. And just like we saw in a previous game tonight, enemies are doing Dragon, enemies use their priority to do something right-hand side of the map, and on Fleek's just saying, okay, I'll do something on the other side of the map, except mine's a little bit more valuable.
He's not going to be seen either. He skirts around that Scuttle Crab to make sure he can get on in, and even sweeps for any wards, but there are none, so gonna be able to pick this up relatively easy. Smite comes in at 11 minutes, and we'll have to wait and see where they want to run that Shelly down and pick up some plates. Already the top lane, we mentioned it before, Vlad struggling before he hits level 9, and down about 15 CS so far, and has lost a bunch of health on his turret, so maybe they might opt into the top side.
So if you're looking at Herald right now, it's a good point that you just brought up the top side, but one of the ways that you could look at it is, well, Vladimir is in a nightmare lane right now. Let's let that lane keep going. We can choose to take the Herald into mid lane, crash that turret, try to break it open, and then Urgot's unlocked. And then at that point, Akali will have to farm in front of her tier 2 turret, walk up, try to secure vision, but how can she secure vision when her jungler is behind in priority? And then it gets a lot more scary and allows Urgot more freedom to roam up or down to help his teammates, and that would be a nightmare situation for Vladimir.
Yes, let him wallow in his misery. Picks up a Proto Belt, actually already puts that Kindle Gem to use with the Fiendish Codex. As Papa was talking about this build yesterday where you pick up nearly 40 CDR really quick on the Vlad, and you hit level 9 and you're in a pretty good place from then on.
Speaking about good places, Sandbox is in a very good place this game so far, at least in the mid-top and jungle side. Lucian could be doing a little bit better, but not the end of the world. They're going to be able to, I think, to pick up a plate here.
They're going to pick one up, and they're looking to rotate as well. Here comes Dovin on fleek. They're not actually going to commit, as they're seen the whole way. Nice little lantern there to get him out of any harm's way, as Kaisa still having what looks to be a pretty decent lane up against the Lucian at least, which can be hard at times.
See that Akali ended up picking the Sorc boots up, Sorcerer Boots of Penetration. One of the things I would be worried about, actually, is magic-resistant stacking on Sandbox's team. Could be problematic for the Vladimir and the Akali.
Trying to steal the blue here is Joker, but actually Rift Herald's going to make his way into the mid lane. Look at all the plates they're getting. You mentioned this before. I think that's going to be near a total of 3 if they can pick up this last one. Doesn't look like they'll quite get the last one, but lots of gold funneled into the mid side here. Looks like a bunch of it went on to Lucian as well, so they're pretty happy about that.
And they drew all of the members of Hanwha Life into mid lane, which means that people are missing out on golden XP in the sides, and Sandbox doesn't really care about that. They got their plates. They are well fed.
Yeah, very well fed, as are we. We had our dinner. Before this matchup was quite good.
Except for the kimchi. Kimchi was not good. That kimchi was...
Yes, LS ate it for me and said it was bad, so I didn't eat it.
I saved him.
That
Took
caster
one for the
synergy.
team.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
But everything else, very good. As you notice the timing of the Rift Herald play as well, that was right before plates went down, so it was all very well executed by Sandbox. They get a nice little comfortable, well-fed gold lead, as you mentioned, about 1.5 thousand gold ahead.
And this is the exact type of gold lead that they would want at this point in the game. We mentioned earlier 1 and 2 item spikes for this team comp. And I actually think that the fact that Vladimir is not able to go toe-to-toe with the Victor right now is potentially going to be problematic for the mid-game team fights, because Vlad is so important for that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I love the player Ghost has turned into. I remember in the past on BBQ, he always used to look scared. He never really seemed to look confident in the lane, but now he's playing Draven and Lucian and just dominating some of the lanes. Early game, it seemed like Kaizo was doing okay, but after Ghost pick up that Blade of the Rune King, he is just dominating the lane so far.
And lots of pressure being exerted, and with mid and bottom tier 1 turret about to fall and top going to be the next objective, this is a very unfortunate situation for Hanwha Life to be in, but we talked about this is what's sort of to be expected. And unfortunate for them, Mountain Drake was rolled, which helps with Sandbox being able to shred through Baron and raise tier 2 turrets, so Hanwha can't be too happy about that.
You're getting so much of the gold that was on the map, plus objectives here. Mountain Drake into another Mountain Drake will be the 3rd Drake of the game. As, well, Ghost, I praise you, and then you recall Envision, but he's going to be just fine. He'll be backing off eventually. He'll get there. Finally picked up some boots, by the way. He had no boots before the Blade of the Rune King.
He's choosing to stay for the next bottom wave so that he does not lose out on tempo. And then after this, they probably just rotate him into top lane, as there's no reason for the bottom lane to be in bottom, as there's no neutral objective priority that's necessary. They're looking for a little bit of a cheesy play.
Set up all the vision here and remove all of it as well, but you can see that Hanwha Life pretty much in defensive mode in the bottom side. They don't really want to take trades after they saw what Lucian could do.
It's interesting that they're choosing to send Lucian and Braum into mid lane to get that turret rather than just send them top lane. because mid turret's on its last leg, whereas top lane is still a little bit healthier than that. And there's no reason to keep Victor up here anymore. He's not really getting any value inside of this lane anymore, like he was early on.
Yeah, maybe they will rotate after this, but for now, will remain, as you said, Lucian's here. And now we actually have Tal rotating first from the top side. He's going to be near mid lane, actually. We're looking to collapse onto lava. It's going to be totally fine. This is the Shuriken, though, so not fine anymore.
And now approaching the 20-minute mark. You can see Akali probably just going to go Zanya's Hourglass for the second item. There's no reason for Hanwha to be looking for fights right now. Not entirely sure what Thal is hoping to achieve there. But they should just be content, wait for 2 items to pass, start moving into your 3rd item, play defensively, maybe contest the next Mountain Drake, depending on what everyone's doing with lanes and where Sandbox allocates some of its champions.
Fancy Veil picked up here for Tal on his Vlad, so he's going to have a little bit more survivability. He's not rushing out those big-time, AP items that we do sometimes see. Wants to make sure that he can survive this power spike you were mentioning from the side of Sandbox, it seems.
Ghost activated by Dove. I guess he wanted to just get access back to the summoner.
Yeah, gets his TP back in the split push lane down here on the bottom side. Summit still on the top side. As well, Lava is going to avoid that knock-up as they're looking for the turret here. The link comes down, and oh boy, Lava going to be knocked up, but he is able to ultimate away and be totally fine. So turret, another one does fall, though, to the side of Sandbox. So they're just stacking that gold still. There's only been 2 kills, but they're still ahead 4,000 gold already.
And it's not something that I would say is completely unexpected. I think that a 5k gold lead for Sandbox is something that you should expect. I think that it would be a little bit advantageous when you factor in team comps and champion base scaling and whatnot. Don't let the gold graph, however, at the top deceive you. Hanwha is still very, very much in this game. When you look at the lane matchups, you would expect that this is sort of what's supposed to happen. Victor's supposed to beat Vladimir. He's supposed to come out with CS leads. Lucian, Braum should get CS leads. They should get plates. The fact that they got the Herald early and converted that into so many mid lane plates, plus Akali not able to really find anything, is why the gold gap is as big as it is, which is why I'm saying that Sandbox does have a slight lead right now.
It's definitely a good point. We're going to have to keep tabs on how Hanwha is scaling currently. Akali's still looking for her second item, whereas Vlad has his onto the map. Kind of disappointed that we didn't see Redemption Olaf once again. Bono saw that and he's like, nah, it's bad. Maybe just not feeling it today in this game.
Redemption Olaf, definitely a treat to watch. Tarzan picked it. And Sandbox making their way up into the top lane now.
Looking for a potential dive as Lava already going to take a little bit of damage. Both on Fleek and Dove have a very good potential to dive these turrets, as Dove is incredibly tanky and Aatrox is Aatrox.
It looks like Hanwha could actually beat them to the dragon. Vladimir has had priority in mid lane, but it doesn't seem to be something that might be on their agenda. Concede top tier 1 and just get that Mountain Drake. You do not want to give Sandbox double Mountain.
I mean, it's kind of like a weird rotation that they're being caught in right now as Vlad is returning to the top side, and they want to put Lava on the bottom side. But as you mentioned, they're giving up so much. I mean, the top side turret goes down essentially for free. The second Mountain Drake also goes to the side of Sandbox. So they're going to have a lot of map control with this early lead that they've already picked up. And having double Mountain is just so threatening when you can have control of the map like this.
Double Mountain is
he used his cleanse as well. He's going to flash away. Will he go down? Looks like no key. Now in a ton of trouble. They're looking to flash onto him. Don't even need to use it. They just get the kill. Ghost going to pick that one up. It looks so good for Joker, but he was the masturbator in the end.
See what you did there?
It was a good bait. It was a masterful bait. It was really good.
And
Big fan.
off of that, they might even be able, if they can get one more pick, they can convert this into Baron.
Exactly. With the double mountain, it's just, it's really, really threatening. We'll see if they actually can make it happen. In this one, they're pushing out the wave. Will they go towards it? Onfleek stops his back. May want to threaten it here.
Have to be really careful right now. This is a critical moment in the game. Hanwha Life doesn't actually want to take a fight at the Baron. Wait for the bottom wave, the top wave to come into you, farm that. And if you do that, then Sandbox is missing out on several minion waves that are just going to be dying to their own minions. Slowly try to recover the game state that way. And by the way, another Mountain Drake. An Infernal would probably be better, but still, this RNG is insane for Sandbox.
Well, we're going to take another look at the bait here as he uses Cleanse on the ward, and they're just like, oh, it should be easy kill. Well, actually, he is the one that bites the dust.
Almost died. That was one auto attack worth of HP. If they could have just gone 1-for-1 there, it would have been advantageous.
I always love the Sandbox coach's reaction. He's got the best reactions for sure.
Sandbox coaches in the coach box.
Yes.
I love it. And right now you can see that Sandbox probably just content to wait on the next Mountain Drake. There's no reason to try to do any sort of gambles or cheesy vision plays or whatnot. Hexdrink are now coming out for Lucian, so they're beginning that magic resistance stack. Victor probably going to pick up a Banshee's Veil later on, and that means that a lot of the pressure will be on Songyun on that Kaisa to deal the damage.
Well, we've seen what Kaisas can do even from behind, so he's going to have to put on his best Viper impression and get into that back line, do insane amounts of damage. I believe in Songyun. He's definitely an 80 carry that I can respect. Has shown that he can carry his team from time to time. See if he can do it in this one as they continue to scale. Game continuously going longer, and Sandbox, you can see they're trying to force a fight here on top of Lava, but he's just going to go straight into the Lantern. They want none of this, as even Bono is going to have to flash away. They are not ready to take any fights.
And they end up wasting Olaf's flash through all of this, so very unfortunate turn of events. And now Sandbox might just say, hey, we're going to use Baron as a bait because we have 2 Mountain Dragons. Look at how quickly that Baron just goes down.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. You got Lucian in there as well.
Summit.
Okay, here comes Lava into the pit. They want to turn on Tabano. He doesn't have his flash. Tall, big time ultimate onto all 5 members, but no engage will happen. They just want to stop the Baron, and Sandbox say, come at me, bro. We're going to go for it no matter what. Field comes down. They want to zone him out. The smite is early, but it doesn't matter. It goes their way. As Lava going to get extremely low. Big time damage. Okay, there you go. Lava going to go down. Tall, not tanky enough. And Songyun trying to get in the back line, but the rest of his team just disappears. He even flashes in for that one, but does not go his way. Picks up a double kill, but his entire team died, and Sandbox also got the Baron.
Yeah, and this is the perfect timing to get an ace with your Lucian and Victor and Urgot still remaining. The best tower shredders on their team with double Mountain Drake. They're going to be able to convert this into an inhibitor capture. They're going to get 3 turrets off of this. Just a monstrous turn of events, and what was looking like almost a period of stability for Hanwha just completely flipped on its head. And I don't think that the game's going to be recoverable from this point.
You know, you were talking about gold leads and how it's expected, but 10,000 gold now at 26 minutes, as you mentioned, kind of seems like a massive wall to get over. I love how Sandbox say, you have to fight us or we're going to get Baron, but it was really unfortunate that they gave Baron and also kind of took a really bad start to this fight.
Yeah, and you can see Akali just gets exhausted down, and Kaisa, there's that damage that we were talking about. It's just so unfortunate because Hanwha's team fighting, they were so just separated from one another. The way that the whole Baron started. He says, I can teleport, I can teleport. He says, I'll push top.
Yeah.
That was the voice of Victor that you were hearing. And so now, I mean, it's just basically Sandbox is going to take what they want now.
Pretty much. And how about a third Mountain Drake, as if they needed any more?
Go ahead, roll an Infernal. No?
Not quite, no.
Not quite.
You don't have that power, LS. You can predict in the pick and ban, but not the Dragons. Maybe next time.
Well, now we're going to get the bottom tier 2 turret. And there's still plenty of time remaining on this Baron.
Yeah.
Triple Mountain. Such an unfortunate scenario.
Well, they're trying to engage on the left side here. Summit is in a ton of trouble. Is going to go down, but immediately Thresh somehow in transition just disappears. And, well, now Bono's caught out. Looks like they went a little bit too far out of their base. Sandbox immediately pulls the leash back and say, no, we're going to pick up a couple of kills, and that they do.
They did manage to stop the siege on the bottom turret, but Sandbox saying that, yeah, I think they want the win now. This could be a little bit overeager. We've seen what a decision like this has done to other teams in the past. Games were able to be recovered from what should have been certain defeat.
Well, you can see Lava is trying his best, but he's going to get called down. Even Tal himself, no ultimate. Not quite able to push them back just yet, but they did stop the push. And Baron buff near expiration. Here comes TP.
Oh, there's so many bounties on this.
He doesn't have his ultimate. He's just doing a little bit of damage, and now with no pool, he's going to disappear as Desperation strikes again. And unfortunately, that means 2 more deaths here for Hanwha Life as Sandbox looks spectacular tonight. Going to pick up another kill in the enemy base, and now they're going to look to end the game.
Yeah, they're certainly just going to be able to finish this here. Tal giving us his best Leroy Jenkins impression right there on the Vladimir engage.
Lava trying his best. He flashed to try to kill the minions, and, well, he did that, but still went down, as did Songyun. And he's actually doing a good job trading on the backside, but it does not matter. He goes down, Nexus goes down, and game 1 goes down to the side of